People in HOAs, what's the dumbest rule in your homeowners association agreement? House in the neighborhood caught fire. Luckily everyone was okay, they had small children, but the fire burnt a hole in the side of the house. While waiting for it to be repaired, the family covered the hole with a blue tarp to prevent rain from getting in and causing more damage. HOA fined them because the tarp was an eyesore. I'd replace it with an obnoxious flag. I'd paint it in rainbow colors. The HOA sucks. I remember a story about an HOA that told a resident he was not allowed to have a pickup truck because of the ban on work vehicles in the bylaws. There was no contractor or business sign on it, the truck was a personal vehicle. The HOA wouldn't budge. He went out and bought an old station wagon that he painted camouflage and stuck a picture in the back window of his brand new shiny pickup truck with a sign that said, "The HOA will allow me to have this car, but not this truck in my driveway." The bylaws were amended shortly to allow non-commercial pickup trucks. What the hell, we have people with work trucks all over our nice residential neighborhood. Pretentious pricks. Guess that means they don't want any blue-collar workers in their neighborhood. Replace it with the faces of the HOA board. The tarp was an eyesore. Nice, way to cut some slack to the family that almost died, bravo HOA. I guess the gaping burned-out hole in the side of the house would have looked better? Or maybe they should have ordered that tarp that came in the khaki coach signature print, IRL. HOAs don't give a F. The president of our HOA came to wish me well when both of my parents died. I lived with them, I was 18. Literally the next day he sent me a fine for forgetting to bring the trash cans in. I drew a middle finger on the paper and sent it back to them and then proceeded to park my car on the lawn until I was able to sell the house. Never did pay that fine or the fines they sent me for having cars on the lawn lol. I know I'm petty, but F HOAs. Also you were 18 and both your parents died. They can F all the way off. It's amazing how quickly their hospitality ran out over some effing trash cans. Went from let us know if you need anything to we're going to make your life even more difficult because my property values. My old boss lived in an HOA that demanded that trash cans couldn't be at the curb for more than 3 hours before or after trash collection. She got fined all the time because she was working during those hours and would have to bring it in late. This particular neighborhood hired a local trash company that agreed to doing pickup starting at 9 a.m. and promised to be finished in the development by 10:30 a.m. Each street was assumed to have like a 15-minute window and the fines were based on the scheduled pickup, not necessarily the actual pickup. So for instance, if you put your trash out before 6 a.m. or after 1:30 p.m., you catch a $30 fine. They never seemed to enforce the early rule, we assumed because no one was patrolling for trash cans at 5 a.m., but they were like vultures if your trash was out late because it was an eyesore in the middle of the day. My boss usually worked 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., and at first she used to take her break and rush home to bring the can up, but the one time she got there right at the end of her window and found a citation. She had a whole blowout fight with her HOA and ended up moving, but she pulled some crap you find on before leaving. She was amazing, I miss her dearly. Web link. Okay, so your boss's hours are ridiculously common and couldn't possibly have been the only person with this problem. Probably not, but most of her neighbors were retired or had stay-at-home wives, so she didn't see anyone else getting nailed for it. She stayed there less than a year, so I don't think she cared much to find out. When we were looking for a house, I was pretty against homes in HOAs, but I'd still look and wanted the bylaws available so I could see if they were something I could live with if I really liked the house. Like our last house we rented was in a HOA and the rules were basically keep the grass decently mowed, don't park cars or campers anywhere not paved, animals outside of a fenced area need to be on a leash. Thanks. So yeah, normal things. We found a home we really liked, but the HOA rules were absurd. Like you had to mow the yard 2x a week between the months of April to October but no mowing after 5 p.m., because noise, trash can't be taken out before 8 a.m. and must be back in the garage by 10 a.m. on Wednesdays, no food smokers without prior approval, all grills must be gas and have approval, no cars in driveways longer than 15 minutes. It was insane. No thank you. If every single one of my neighbors mowed their yard twice a week within a concentrated range of hours, I'd lose my mind, especially while working from home. And I guess I'd be mowing my own lawn twice every Sunday, since I work 9 to 5 during the week and wouldn't want to ruin 2 consecutive weekend days with yard chores. What if you're having a dry spell or drought? Fry your lawn out over cutting it? Waste gas running over it and not cutting it at all? No thank you, totalitarian HOA. That last one is extra insane to me. Basically, F you if you want to use all the available space in your garage for more than 15 minutes, and also F you if you have people over for more than 15 minutes. Instead, we should have them clog up the street like geniuses. My parents' HOA is stupid strict. Can't have any holiday decorations up past the first week of January. My mom pulled a Clark Griswold and broke her ankle falling off a ladder putting up decorations before the holidays, so a wreath was left on the front door longer than allowed. They got a letter with a picture and a threat of fine. A few summers later, they and some of their neighbors decided to stick it to the man. They got a flock of plastic lawn flamingos and planted them in one of their yards. Whenever the HOA would send a letter, the flock migrated to another yard. Kept it up for about a month and a half. Edit. Wow. Thanks for all the comments, guys. Surprisingly enough, this isn't the craziest prank that my parents have pulled. My dad is always scheming something, but I'm glad that you have enjoyed their antics. That's incredible. The fences on your property must all be the same color, and match the adjoining fences of the neighbor's property. The community was planned single-family houses with fences between houses. Looking from the street, it went house, fence, house, fence, house. I was in the middle of the row and had a shared fence with both neighbors, that each had their own color. I got a violation notice the same week I moved it. If I painted my fences to match each other, at least one of my neighbors wouldn't have matched theirs on the other side. This would have sent a cascade of violations down the street. Match each end, blend into a rainbow middle of fence. This would have sent a cascade of violations down the street. Should have done it. Then rally everyone together to stick it to the HOA. Not allowed to park pickup trucks in the driveway with two exceptions, the Cadillac EXT and the Lincoln Blackwood. These were described as luxury vehicles. The HOA president also drove an EXT, so he basically exempted himself from the rules. Find a beater version of one of those and park it out of spite. The Lincoln Blackwood was only made for 2002 to 2003. I'm sure there are some clapped-out examples just waiting for their time to shine. The succeeding truck in the line was the Lincoln Mark LT, which ran from 2006 to 2014. It had a Blackwood Special Edition, so that may be fun arguing whether or not it's actually a Blackwood. Can you get a car cover with one of these trucks printed on them? You can park whatever under that. Car covers are also not allowed as they indicate long-term storage. Daily drivers are fine to park in driveways, but long-term storage vehicles must be in garages or stored off-site. When I read about HOAs, it never fails to set my teeth on edge. Like, maybe I should take a deep breath because I'm getting actively annoyed. Not allowed to put a welcome mat at my front door. But how will you wipe your feet before you go inside? You can put a mat, it just can't be welcoming. I would need to make some kind of hostile mat for some malicious compliance. It's not a welcome mat if it says F off. Everyone in my neighborhood was fined for having dirty roofs. Seriously, they claimed that everyone's roofs were dirty and made the neighborhood look bad. It's not like they were covered in mold or anything. Hell, I don't know how a roof is even dirty, but 268 of the 284 houses in my neighborhood were fined $75 for it. We found out later that the HOA president started a power washing business and likely just wanted to drum up some business. He was impeached because of it and none of us even paid the fines. Edit. I've replied in the comments with this a few times, but it should be noted, power washing asphalt shingles will ruin them. It strips them bare and you'd have to replace them as a result. The HOA president's son conveniently owned a roofing company, which was one of the two that were approved by the HOA to work in the neighborhood. So after he would have ruined your roof and made money from that, you'd have to hire his son to replace your roof. Oh, impeaching HOA boards sounds like an excellent hobby when I win the lotto big time. Unfortunately, I can't live in an area with an HOA. I am French and I grew up in Texas. My desire to be head figures of authority and my property rights would never agree with it. Edit 1. Damn y'all, some bloodthirsty dudes and dudettes. While I've got people still looking at this comment, I'd like to direct your attention to the fact that while we all agree HOA leadership members aren't people, teens and preteens are. Consider donating to a local youth suicide prevention fund, and if you don't believe in organized charities, do a good deed and buy someone struggling a burger. An act of kindness is just as important as dick slapping a nosy yuppie. Oh, I would never live in an overbearing HOA neighborhood, and I can see that you are, not compatible either. I would just start a nonprofit to assist with abusive HOA subversion and dismantling using a variety of strategies. Imagine having an organization where retired persons with certain skill sets could put them to good advisory use. I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to power wash a roof. Edit. You can power wash some types of roofs or soft wash. Edit 2. Wow, the HOA guy was extra evil. No parking in your driveway. Vehicles had to be kept in your garage. No satellites. It was cable or nothing. For satellites, they're not allowed to restrict that in the US anymore, so check your local laws on that one. Then get a big-ass 1980s satellite dish. The kind that grinds gears as it rotates to find the correct satellite. When I was growing up, the older couple that lived next door to where my dad lived had one of those dishes from way back in the earliest days of satellite TV, had to have been from the 70s, this would have been the 90s. Mounted on the ground too in their backyard, so that thing looked like one of those artillery pieces in Empire Strikes Back. We have to get HOA permission to repaint the house the same color it already is. The best part is they might say no. This actually did happen to my mom. She went to the meeting and submitted the color for approval. The HOA president, Doris, argued with her for over an hour because that's not the same color. Like, yes, Doris, it is. The sun fades the color and that's exactly why it needs to be repainted. One of many stories of Doris. Why does Doris sound like the quintessential name for an HOA president? Friend of mine lived in a building that didn't allow vacuuming between the hours of 1 to 3 p.m., the time of the HOA president's child's nap time. No vacuuming, fine. How about Screamo cranked to 11? Just play a YouTube video of vacuum sound effects on a loudspeaker for 3 hours. Here's your fine for vacuuming. I wasn't vacuuming. Yes, you are. I have a recording of it. I assure you I was no vacuuming. I was at work all day, and I live alone. Then why did I hear a vacuum going inside your apartment? I set up a 2-hour-long track of vacuum sounds to play automatically from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. They say music is good for plant growth, and my cactus hasn't done much recently, so I thought maybe it liked vacuums. Have a good evening. If you have conditioned your child to be such a light sleeper, that they would wake up at the sound of a vacuum in another apartment unit, you have done them a disservice. We have a landscaping committee. If you want to plant flowers, they must be approved by the committee before you plant them. I have this rule as well. When I moved in, I noticed a bare spot in the landscaping facing my house. I was wondering what to put there, and when I met my neighbor next to me, I asked about what we were allowed to put there. Oh, nothing. You're not allowed to add anything to the landscaping. Can I put a potted tree or something there? No. If you're really torn up about it though, you can email the strata. Oh, do you have their email? It's mine. Here. I'd really hate for you to ruin the beauty of that bare patch of ground by planting something there. If I were you, I would have frozen some Roundup in ice cube trays and thrown them on his lawn so he gets patches of dead grass and there's no evidence. Edit. Thanks for the awards. Instead of killing the grass, use nitrogen fertilizer with iron. Not only will it grow like hell in those spots, it will be so green it appears black. Or, now listen to me here, both. That's effing stupid. When I finally have the money to buy a goddamn house, I'll do what I want with my goddamn yard. And this is why we never even entertain the idea of buying a house with a HOA. We don't even let the realtors put them on the list. We're currently buying a new home. Closing is this Thursday. I had to drive 16 hours alone to go hunt for a home in our new town. I was pretty specific to my re-agent about bedrooms, baths, flat yard, etc., and no HOA. What did she show me? Homes with hilly backyards and the craziest hoes. She got super butthurt when we went under contract with another agent. One who found us a beautiful home in a very nice neighborhood with a flat yard and no HOA. Same, Can't cut out the crafty juniper bushes in front of my place. They are dead as F and have been no sign of someone coming to remove and replace with anything, but I can't touch them. Spray paint them garish colors. The HOA would probably deal with them then. Can't take a walk after 8 p.m. Reason? People's dogs bark and apparently this is others' fault for walking outside. Was that ever challenged? A curfew would seem to be beyond their powers. I was too vague in my description. It's only part of the property, where our backyards are facing, that they're doing this for. Not saying that makes it okay, just seems less crazy than full-on banning of all walking. Was this HOA common property or land that belonged to the homeowner? Generally, HOAs can't keep you from literally walking on your own property, inside or outside. They can make rules regarding the use of common property, and regularly do. They'd likely lose if a member took them to court over not being allowed on their own personal property. Edit, saw below comment. This is HOA common property. They can't keep you from being on your private property, but they are able to regulate what you do inside your home. A lady once sued her HOA because the agreement specified no pets whatsoever. She had a cat that stayed inside 24/7, and would never be seen by other members. She lost. The dissenting judge used a great quote on the matter to start his opinion: "There are two means of refuge from the miseries of life, music and cats." No way that's legal. In my neighborhood, we are not allowed to have blue trampoline covers. They must be green or black. Not my HOA, but when we were condo hunting we looked at one community that had a changelog for their house rules. They'd been amended from no pets to allowing 1 cat per unit, and then 2 weeks later back to no pets. What did that cat do? They probably changed to let someone get a cat, then quickly changed it back. The cat would stay because it was grandfathered in. Oh, grandfather cat, the wisest of cats. My guess, some HOA member's cat got grandfathered in. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.